development space. And the players that are entrenched in there are just huge. I mean, there are people like IBM and SAP, people who just eat a startup for lunch. And so it's an extraordinarily difficult thing to get into. And as it turns out, after a number of companies crashed and burned in this area, we found out that really the fundamental problem was understanding the semantics of the legacy systems. It wasn't actually the representation which you put it into. It was actually great systems to do entity mapping. It turns out you spend 90% of your time figuring out what that asterisk was in the data, right? Because the guy just moved on and put it in there. Also, the startups tended to be incredibly unsophisticated about business complexities. What the real value drivers in ROI systems were in businesses. And finally, the semantic web itself, that is OWL, right? At least OWL DL, is typically too weak, right, to really capture things. So, but nevertheless, so you can go through the analysis, and you can look at all these. This is Forrester's estimation of market segments for enterprise information integration software packages. If you're an AI person or a semantic web person, you look at these and you go, who are these people? Right? But it's a very specialized market. Note, though, that services are about 5 times the value of the software in this case. Very large market, but really, as I say, not particularly friendly to new technology startups. And another reason for this is to solve one piece of the problem, we pretty much ended up having to solve a great large amount of the problem. All the way from semantic data modeling, through integration, through master data management, BI, semantic process modeling, all the way up to the gold standard, which is now business activity monitoring, corporate performance monitoring. And one of the problems is that looks really, really good, but at least I believe, that vision has never been shown at scale outside the lab. Now, I know there's a lot of companies who are busy trying to prove me wrong on that, and I hope that they do. But that vision requires an immense amount of scale. That's very, very difficult to do inside the enterprise. So as an example, I actually ended up choosing Alpha for this. And not because they're a semantic web company, they're not, but because they are, right now, the most interesting data fusion company that's out there. Right, so Alpha, a lot of people, there's a lot of hype. I don't know if you all managed to miss it. Hopefully you were on a beach somewhere. That's why you managed to miss the hype. But it's a lot of, is this the new Google killer? Everything's got to be the new Google killer. Well, it's not, clearly, if you look at it. It's actually a computational engine, not a search engine. And what it really is the world's most sophisticated calculator, which is a system called Mathematica, combined with a massive almanac. And so you can do things, cool things, height of the Mount Rainier divided by the age of the youngest president. Why you might want to do that, I don't know, but you can do things like that in there. It's a lot like Google's special computations. You can actually ask in Google, like I did just a minute ago, what is €1 in US dollars? I'm going to tell you. And so it's like this, except that it's got this incredibly more powerful back end to it, which is the Mathematica computation system, visualization system. But the other thing which is interesting about this is that it wasn't really done, according to what I hear from them, and I actually talked to some people at Alpha, it wasn't really done sort of by the way that we would do it, like to build up this giant overarching ontology or set of ontologies and then try and integrate according to that. It was actually done with hundreds of people working over years to manually integrate the semantics of a number of selected and manually cleaned databases using this marvelous computational framework in order to build the question answering system. So, and then semantics, they didn't go very far. They went only through the things that were representable in Mathematica. So but it turns out, of course, those are extremely deep and go beyond all. So I think that Alpha is actually a cautionary tale for us about the prospects of semantic web technology in these second generation applications. Okay, so now, so these were 2 things that we thought, first and second generation, 2 things we thought would be incredibly cool and turned out to be a lot harder than we thought. This is back in 2005. So now we're starting to get to things that I think really represent the future. So we'll call it the 3rd generation, or the socio-semantic web, or Web 2.0, and so forth. There's a guy at Adaptive Blue, I believe there's their CEO, Alex Iskold, who I think I've met once, but I'm a reader of his blog because he's really, really clever. And one of the things he says is that semantic web should just be about letting people have a better online experience. So notice there's nothing about relational databases or hardcore semantic search and NLP and so forth. It should just be allowed, but having people have a better online experience. So that means, what does that mean? It means enhancing the things that we already do on the online or that we want to do online. So that's like content creation, publishing, linking your data to different data, socializing, dating, forming community, purchasing things that you want, right? All these kinds of things we do online. Is it possible that the semantic web technology can improve that experience? Well, it turns out a lot of people have started to investigate that, and the answer here is starting to be yes, right? So there's all these kind of cool semantic web service mashup kind of content management systems like Meeting that are out there. There's also semantic enhancements to blogs and wikis, and I'm going to actually mention that Semantic is one of the ones which I think is incredibly cool out there, but there's some others. And finally, semantics and social networking. So what are the success factors here? Well, for one thing, if you're going to actually sort of blow the semantic web out to the masses, to all the users out there, then they better start agreeing in some way. Remember I talked about how the core problem is now maintaining these partial agreements. Well, okay, now the rubber's going to meet